Hello everyone, Karen Cross here. When we say that the PMP can win, I wonder what people think. When you listen to this, I want you to answer this for yourself. What exactly do you mean when you say the PMP can win? Or the PMP will win? Or we can take this, or we can win this? What exactly do you mean? What exactly do you see? Because there is something strange going on. There's something strange going on. And at the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist, let me say what I think is going on. It has been bothering me since the local government election. Matter of fact, it was bothering me before. But it's like it just, came across my mind in a fleeting way and then it just left. And what has been bothering me is that throughout the whole time of the local government elections, first of all, there was no grand fanfare in how it was announced. There was no big excitement in announcing it, which is strange and weird because you would think that a government that finds itself so in such deep crap with the Jamaican voters would want to start off their local government campaign in preparation for the big campaign by making a big bash and all the rest of it. But that didn't happen. There was a quiet announcement, and apart from Mark Gold, they're campaigning for 3 years. The Jamaica Labour Party really was not campaigning. Matter of fact, if you when you ask people around the country, what people tell you in the parishes is that this person show up and that person came and them talk to a meeting and them had a meeting here and them had a motorcade there and all the rest of it. But there wasn't a great campaigning going on the part of the Jamaica Labour Party. There was no open money spending on any broad scale either. I mean, money run. Make no doubt about it. Money did run, but there was no wide scale of flashy whoop of money for everyone to see, so to speak, in the usual manner, right? In the usual way. But Andrew Hollis wasn't campaigning. Andrew Hollis was sitting in the sea of green people surrounding him in Westmoreland, sitting in a car, talking on a mic, talking as if him having a little conversation in a park with some people, or him just buck up some people and him and them having a chat. That that's what he was doing. It never seemed like a champion to me. The fact that he would even have time on election day to come around to St. Mary's Cluster is also another mystery. So, at the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist, let me put something out there. I tell you already, some of you will listen to me, that there's this young fellow that live across the road named Damien, who makes sense all the time. I mean, he's very educated, very bright, very profound in his statements. I remember one conversation one of the mornings when we were out there cleaning up and the garbage truck come up and we make sure everybody bring out them garbage pan and all of that, and we out there talk about Mark Golding and the PMP. And I remember that Damien said something to me. Damien, in the midst of the conversation, Damien said, boy, what you must understand, is that all of them are work together. And he expounded on it by saying that it is important for Andrew Holness that Mark Golding remains where he is. It was the most profound thing I heard. But for some reason, it never stayed with me. I don't know if it's because it never clicked in my mind, or it just never stayed with me. But he said it, and he said it more than once too, more than one conversations, because we have many conversations. Him and us, we have many conversations, and we have deep, serious conversations about our community and our country. And Damien was making the point that Mark Golding not doing anything to unite the party, Mark Golding not making any effort either to win an election because of all the things that he's doing, because he might work with Andrew Holness. And this local government election could possibly be the first sign that maybe Damien have a point. Just maybe. Just maybe. Because I'm a realist. But maybe Andrew Holness wasn't walking around the country touting him policies and talking about what him do and all of that. Matter of fact, in many of it, in the few instances that we saw him talking to voters or surrounded by him candidate for a particular place, like in the case of when he went up to Papine and in the case of when he went down to Westmoreland, in those conversations, because those were conversations, those are not really campaigning. I mean, the man sit down on a van top easy like Sunday with a mic in front of him, like him having a beer with a crew of people. That's what it looked like. And in those very few times that we saw him, he was talking about how the man them a fight for power, how what people would do for power. I mean, he wasn't campaigning. He wasn't saying the things that a prime minister who wants to hold on to power was saying. He wasn't saying, boy, give us a chance and we're going to do better and we know we fail you and them man they can't lead. You know, the kind of things that you should say as a political rallies and your campaigning. But Andrew Holness didn't say those things. Andrew Holness was very sober and solemn and calm, because it appears when you look back at it now, and before I made this voice note, I went to look back at some of them just to be certain about what I'm saying. When you look at them, him look laid back and serene, like he has absolutely no expectations that this is going to go bad for him. That's basically how he looked. And I encourage you to go back and look at some of his campaign stops and just look for yourself how he looked and what he was saying, and if it made any sense to you in terms of how laid back and relaxed he was. In political campaigns, there's hardly an instant when you can say that your opponent is laid back or calm or serene. Everybody is hyper because everybody wants to get their message across. Everybody wants to one up everybody and say, I am your guy. So this was kind of strange on his part. So maybe Damien have a point. Maybe all of this is a Mark Golding to stay so that Andrew Holness can remain in power. And Andrew Holness don't at any time look worried about Mark Golding winning anything. It is no, you can look by it, you don't have to take my word for it. I am just saying what I am seeing now, and it is very clear that Andrew Holness is not worried about Mark Golding. In a political climate like this, and this political climate has existed for over 2 years now, where nobody wants anything to do with Andrew Holness, where a majority of Jamaicans, even those who went out and voted for him in 2016 and them like the whole thing about him clerks and him broke God's name and them like him and them and all the youth, everybody hype up them body and say, yeah, Andrew Holness look good and Ray and stuff. And all those people who went out and voted for him, quite a number of them are up in arms against him. And two things happened or never happened on February 26. Some of those people did not show up. So that's the first thing that happens, that some of those people don't show up. 8% of the people who voted in 2016 didn't show up in 2024. So some of those people who voted for him in 2016 didn't show up. And for me, it suggests that them no want to get rid of him, or them fine with him, or them with Mark Golding to that extent that them will just go and jam. Because in a political climate like this, and many people don't understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking. And let me explain, because I don't believe I'm explaining it very clearly. I'm not explaining it very clearly. This is a local government elections that we should have walked through like bosses. You hear me? We should be sweeping every place. Every place. We should have gotten back St. Thomas. We should have sweep out the whole of backside Clarendon. Clarendon is a rice country, you know. Them a rice so high you can't see them. Huh? We should have sweep out, we should have put St. Catherine in a position where the Labourites have to run, go hide or something like that. I mean, we should have taken Portland. Yeah, we shouldn't have to struggle and control the KCC because we got the most popular votes, because we still tie with seats. It's 2020. We just have the mayor because we have the popular votes, and them have the deputy mayor. That is basically shared power. Well, we know that the deputy mayor don't really have no power, but in light of the fact that the JLP is still controlling central government, and the deputy mayor of the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation will be the former mayor who was mayor for 8 years, maybe that idea that is not shared power and deputy mayors don't have no power, maybe that idea is going to be thrown out. I don't know. I just don't know, because we're living in strange political times. But I was repeating to some of you who still not get it. This should have been a walk in the park for the PMP. This should have been where, with or without PMP workers, people so up in arms against Andrew Holness that they will come out and vote out the whole damn lot of them. But that did not happen. That didn't happen. Una think about it. Una have Dayton Campbell and Mark Golding go out there and spread lies about them win local government election and try to twist people to make people, because them don't want people to feel like them are losers, which they are. They are losers. But there's another thing. Andrew Holness enjoys warm and trustworthy relationship with the powers that be outside of Jamaica. Not only Canada and France and Germany and England, but he enjoys good relationship with the Biden administration. Matter of fact, I think Vice President Kamala Harris is in charge of Jamaica, and she and Andrew Holness meet fairly regularly, and him get a whoop of things, but I mean, we don't know half the things that him get, because I don't know the corruption exists in very high ways. But the international community now pay Mark Golding no mind, and then to add insult to injury, him and him General Secretary out there being election deniers. They have now joined the Trump clan and denying the authenticity and the right count and the right results of a fairly ran election in the country. Him General Secretary out there denying that and twisting the arms of corrupt journalists to go out there and give bad information, knowing that the information that they are giving is not true, because the laws are there and the system is there. But I am heartened that no matter what the journalist says, and no matter what Dayton Campbell says and Mark Golding says, the Electoral Office of Jamaica's website still have up the official results. JLP 7, PMP 5. We can't escape that. It's not me spreading nothing. That exists. But let's go back to the original arguments I'm saying to you. How did it get here, sir, where this government is so hated according to many, many people? I don't necessarily share that view. I don't, because I see people and I talk to people, and you hear them say one thing, then body language saying something else, or them body language saying something and something else coming out of their mouths, and them eyes shifty, and them say some things and turn with them head, and them hold on them head when them say some things. The animosity towards Andrew Holness and the JLP government is real, but maybe it is not as high as some people believe it to be. Because common sense tells you that if it was, as many people say that it is, then Mark Golding and Dayton Campbell wouldn't have to be out there spreading lies and being election deniers, saying them win something but them never win, because we would have won. But the man them spent $150 million. Andrew Holness down on his knees, They on him face. Nobody now do nothing for nobody. The country mired in corruption. And we, the People's National Party, stepped into a deep lake. And when we stood up on our feet, the water never even reached our waist. The water never even reached our waist. After the leader of the party out there campaigning for 3 years plus, after everybody agreed, there is not one Jamaican, apart from a hardcore laborite, who would not agree that the country is in terrible shape, especially as it relates to poor people. The top of the people them are right, the business people them are right, is the poor people that it not reaching. The poor people them not get nothing. Poor people were broke and poor and hungry and nothing now go on. Everything is a damn struggle and a fight for us. But the other people them all right. And that is the reality of the country. But if that is the reality of the country, look at the whole north, the north coast of the country. The GLP sweep the entire north coast, and some part of St. Mary is a part of the north coast. The part that is nearer to Ochoria is a part of the north coast. So you can call St. Mary a part of the north coast. So out of the entire north coast is only St. Mary. We have, who is looking at that? Who's looking at that? It is worrisome, and it is all because of Mark Jefferson Golden. It's just him. Him is the common denominator in the midst of all of this. Think about it. Think about it, people. Make us start again. No, seriously, make us start again. Bro God not going with nothing. The young people them who just turned 18 a year ago, last year, 2 years ago, all of them who were 12 and 13 before he became prime minister, or when he became prime minister, they were 12 and 13. The whole of them go to school and waste them time. Most of them went to school and waste them time. And them down at the ball field and smoke ganja, and them are taking them lessons and them graduate, and them have nothing to do and them blame bro God. Of course they do. He's to be blamed. Why not? Young people always look somebody for blame for them failures. And bro God is the guy to blame for their failures. So they blame him. And then after that, what happened? What happened? It's just a small percentage of them same one that came out to vote against him. The very people who blaming him for all their collective ills didn't come out in droves. They came out, a whole heap of them come out, but not enough to topple him. Think about it, people. All right, think about this too. If it wasn't for that drove of young people, what would have happened to the PMP? Because the PMP base stay at them yard. The PMP workers them jump ship for the party long time. Long time. It's over here now we're telling you say the party now have no workers, and everybody readily admit that. Even in good constituencies like East Central St. Andrew and Southwest St. Andrew and Western St. Andrew, we have MP. Even there, so the workforce fell apart. People just gone. People just can't bother. People done. People just not bother with none of them. They're not with Mark Golding and the people that will back him up. The common denominator in this constant failure is Mark Jefferson Golding. The PMP base didn't come out because of him. They didn't come out for him. And they didn't come out because of him. And him couldn't get them to come out. Think about another thing again. When a member of parliament or a councillor is doing their best to win, and them just need a little push to get them over the edge, who do you call on? You call on your party leader. And your party leader calls on a cadre of people that can bring out votes. So therefore, if your leader is Peter Phillips, there's Peter Phillips, and Peter Phillips are going to mobilize the forces and make sure Lisa and Damian and everybody out there for going to bring out votes for some weak people who can't carry it by themselves. Because in most instances in an election, general or local, people need the coattail of the party leader to carry them over the edge. Need the coattail, and the party leader coattail must be long and broad and big. In other words, he must be loved and liked in places where you can't get vote, but he can. That is how elections work. So if the fact that Miles and James were able to keep those 2 seats in Westmoreland in the JLP column could be attributed not only to the fact that Miles and James are good councillors that serve the people, whether they are JLP or PMP, could it also be attributed to the fact that Andrew Holness told those 2 divisions that him need those 2 councillors, and the Labourites they made an extra push, because I'm looking at the numbers, and the numbers is not overwhelmingly a PMP push. The numbers are overwhelmingly a JLP push. Miles and James get a whole heap of PMP votes, but in order for them to win by that number that they won by, they needed that extra JLP push. And it's only the coattail of the party leader could have given them that. The coattail of the party leader couldn't help the 2 PMP candidates. Think about it. The coattail of the party leader, who from all indication most Westmoreland people like, couldn't carry them across in a difficult place like Westmoreland. It is the party leader's coattail that's supposed to provide that huge victory. And this party leader has absolutely no coat, much less a tail. Mark Golding is the reason why this turned out the way it did. He's the only reason why this never turned out the way it should have. He is the only reason. Of course, there are other reasons like Dayton Campbell and Peter Bunting. Of course, there are. There are other whole risers, people like Lawrence Rowe, and the whole of them will flip up them tail because them earn them stripes as risers, and them should be bosses in somewhere. I mean, Lawrence Rowe is a big riser, and him couldn't carry home Raytown, which has been mired in violence for about 2 years now, and them couldn't sit down and put a strategy together as to how to maximize that to the benefit of a PMP candidate. Think about that. Just think about it. Why I lie down here this Saturday evening and all of that came flooding through my head is because after what came out this Saturday morning about Comrade Basco, and I like Comrade Basco. Comrade Basco is a good guy, but this country is so homophobic and anti-gay and anti the LGBTQ community, and them ready to dehumanize and demonize and add them own narrative to whatever it is that happened. And I don't have all the facts of what happened yet, but I guarantee you that the entire gay community down in St. Mary will find those facts and they will give it to me and tell me what the true issue is. And while I'm reflecting on that, somebody from St. Mary said to me, well, there are these 2 people who lining up to be the candidate now because everybody smell blood in the water because Bobby Montague weak lost the council, and him reeling from that because him so cockety and everybody's so full of a crap that him never think that him could lose the St. Mary council. Mind you, him lost it by one seat, but he lost the St. Mary council, so he's wounded. He's wounded and he's vulnerable. So people in Western St. Mary who wants to be members of Parliament now lining up to be replaced, take the place of Principal Basco. And I'm saying to the person, if I was them, I wouldn't go and think that, because the PMP not going to win in the general election with Mark Golding. And that's just the long and short of it. And I'm saying this in a sober way. I don't hate Mark Golding. I tell you, I do not hate anybody over there. I don't even hate Dayton Campbell. I don't hate Mark Golding. I don't hate Dayton Campbell. I do not experience the emotion of hate. I am angry. about what they have done. I am angry about it. And I am sad most of the time about how the PMP have allowed them to do this and to sit there after this election finish on February 26th. Them shall run remark. Because if you couldn't carry this in such a political climate, with such harsh economic conditions, with a leader and a prime minister that is so unpopular, and you couldn't carry this with a surety, you couldn't carry this with a huge win. All right, a landslide would be good, but all right, let's say not a landslide, but 9 council would be good. 9 council would be enough to rattle him. But I go back to where I started. Andrew always don't seem rattled to me, and I don't know what Una say, but you gotta look upon it and think about it for yourself. I think everybody should look at it, think about it for themselves. Does Andrew always look rattled? Did he look worried and concerned when he was campaigning in the local government election? Was he campaigning really? Or was he just taking strolls and making comments about people who want power so badly that they will do? And him that throw out pan Mark and Bunting them, because them want power. Bunting, most of them are throw out pan. I think them have much issue with Mark, as Mark is their guy. Them just kind of figure out that if Mark win a general election, is Bunting calling the shots. I mean, it might even be, I could even take a risk and go out on a limb and say that if Mark become prime minister, him probably would hand it over to Bunting if Bunting actually wins a seat. I'm going out on a limb, and I'm listen me, it's politics, anything is possible. So when Andrew Willis do all them things, did he look worried to you? Did he look like he was concerned about what Mark doing, or concerned that Mark might win the local government election? He never looked concerned to me, and it was before the election announced, when the election announced, and during the campaign. Mark campaigning for 3 years, Andrew barely campaigned for 2 weeks, and this is all we could do. I don't know, quarrel with how we call it the way it is. If you was honest with people, honest and tell people how things are, honest with the constituencies, have honest discussions with them, things not as it seem, the only strategy we had was to hope that enough people against Andrew Holness, and that would be enough to give him the victory. Spend $150 million and hope for that. And that was the strategy. That was the whole strategy. Look all we're on the last. My Lord, I am going to do an assessment of each parish, and I'm going to start it soon. Probably do one voice note with 2 parishes, do an assessment and see where we won, where we lost. Look at the 2016 numbers, make comparison. I'm waiting for the electoral office to give me the information on the PDs, because that is where the information is. The overall numbers don't really mean not much, The overall numbers are good, but what you need to look is at the PDs. How much you got in 2016 at one particular PD, how much you got now, how many people was on that PD, how many new people joined that list. And it is tedious and hard work that nobody wants to do. But in order to give you proper information, I'm going to have to wait for that and get that to give you proper information. But I want you to think about this very carefully, that maybe Mark Golding's only role is to ensure that Andrew Holness remains Prime Minister of Jamaica. Maybe that's his role. Maybe that's the deal. Maybe that's the deal why Bunting get all them banking licenses and have up the whole of the land them from Finsac days, and now him can bust out the land them from the Finsac days, because Peter Phillips did make a crucial mistake and go announce that should he become Prime Minister, I'm going to establish an anti-corruption team of people to weed out corruption, and I'm going to go after people. The media had asked him, if he was willing to prosecute and send people to prison, even from his own party. And Peter Phillips said yes. And that was what sprung everybody into action. Omar Davis knew what he did when he was finance minister. So between him and Bunting and Golding, they all had to get rid of Peter Phillips because of that one little interview. That was a red flag for them. That Peter Phillips, I'm going to weed out corruption, I'm going to set up an anti-corruption task force, and I'm going to go after people who have raped this country and reap riches and at the suffering of poor people. So maybe Mark is there, trying to find a word for him. Maybe he's a Manchurian candidate. Maybe he is. Not going to win, but he's there to ensure that somebody else win. Maybe he's there to make sure Andrew remain in power and Bunting go build the banks them and all the hotels and townhouses and bust out all of the Finsack land them now, because them have a corrupt government to help them, and them help the corrupt government. Yeah, I know. Some of this might sound far-fetched, but it makes sense. And maybe if you think about it and do your own research and check it out, don't take my word for it and don't beat me up for what I say. You don't have to take anything I say as gospel, but I encourage you to check out things yourself. Look into things yourself, man. At Jamaica this, I don't know if you pick sense out of nonsense. Everybody is every one of them tapping or his friend them is helping them one another to keep them on power. And Mark Golding is there holding on to the PMP, suffocating the PMP, killing the PMP for him and Bunting business. Them don't care about the People's National Party. They do not care. If Mark Golding cared about the People's National Party, he would look at this local government election results and he would say, listen, I can't carry this, because if the candidates in certain places couldn't win and my coattail couldn't carry them across, then it is time for me to pack it in and hand over the leadership of the People's National Party to somebody who can. Somebody like Lisa Hanna. I'm not hold my mouth around and talk. Hand it over to somebody like Lisa Hanna, whose coattail is bigger and broader and wider. If he mean the PMP any good, he would do that. And if you, the members of parliament in there, mean the PMP or this country any good, one would remove him as opposition leader and do it now. One should have done it long time ago. Now you still have chance to do it. And yes, for those of you out there, some of you have spoken to me, yeah, I know it's a power thing I don't want. I don't want the power. I don't want to get rid of Andrew Oldest because I don't want to own power. And some of the people who want the power deserves the power, quite frankly, because some people actually help people. And if them get more power, them could help more people. But not Mark Golding, not Peter Bunting. They are there to help themselves and their businesses and their friends. They are not there for the people, and they are certainly not there for the People's National Party. I want to get all heap of opportunity. I want to make it pass by and have Mark Golding sit down there destroying the People's National Party. Whole heap of opportunities. Him can't make it, him can't cross it, him lose the election, and him not going to win the general election. Him not going to win. I don't like making election predictions. I like to prefer to say that elections belong to the people and the people will decide. He will, if him couldn't do this, how on God's earth are you proposing that him going to do that? If him couldn't do this, if everybody could join him and pull out all the stops to get people elected and it still was so shabby, how is he going to do it in the general election? And I know what I'm going to say. But I'm not against anybody's argument. Everybody have their own argument. But my argument and my motivation have always been for the survival of the People's National Party, because I still do believe that the People's National Party is Jamaica's best hope, have always been Jamaica's best hope. But because of this man, Mark Jefferson Golden, it has sunk to the lowest of lows. And no matter, there is just something going on. Something going on. There is no way that the country could be in such state, and there is no way that people could be up in arms so much against this government and against Andrew Holness in particular, and you still couldn't win a landslide local government elections. You couldn't win, undeniable win. You couldn't win and just get a clean win. You couldn't. You couldn't. You lost. You lost. Yeah, I don't like it, but I don't lose. Mark Gold is a loser. I don't lose. No matter how you put it, I don't lose. I don't won 5 municipal corporations. I don't won the mayorship of Portmore. And we have the mayorship of Regentry, Kingston and St. Andrew. Which is not a win. It's a tie. And the votes, the popular votes give us the mayorship. That is just a fact. I'm very happy for the PNP people in Regentry. I am. But that is just a fact. And they'll be the first to tell you that what I say is true. But Mark Golden want to sell it as something else, and you have gullible people who just buying it and lapping it up and think that, it is fact, but it's not fact. Only need to get rid of Mark Golden. To get rid of Mark Golden tomorrow, we are on our way to winning the general election. Only keep him, we're not going to win the general election. Only can just consider it right now. Only could have hype and jump and count number till God come. Mark Golden not going to win the general election because he couldn't win a local government election with all the conditions that exist to give him that win. He couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And it's time that we get rid of him. That's all I'm saying. All right? Thank you for listening to my rant. God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody. Keep the children safe.